you out a no obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phones. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Thursday, 14th day of December, 2017. Hope you're having a great Thursday. Well, we all made it past Hump Day, and we're on that downward slide into the weekend. So I hope you got some great plans made because, hey, everybody's working for the weekend. Except Roy Moore. I guess he's not so much. Anyway, we'll leave that alone. Hey, hope you're having a great Thursday, whoever you are and wherever you are. Now, if you're returning, welcome back. If you're here for the first time, a very special welcome to you. You should be able to see the chart I have up. It's the S&P 500 Emini Futures. Hasn't gone anywhere much, but it's there. If you want to see the chart, go to our homepage at cfrn.net. On the right-hand side of the page, click the big microphone, follow the instructions. You'll be registered in 30 seconds, all the way through the end of the month. That means every day you join the show with one-click access. You see the charts, you interact, you have access to the chat box filled with folks from around the globe. Pretty cool. If you got something you want to share, shout, chant, if you just want to tell the world something, if you want to buy the world a Coke today, you can do it in our chat box. Now, there is another path to approach the wizard. Go to youtube.com/ youtube.com/CFRN/live. Now that only works when we're live. If we're not live, you just go to youtube.com/CFRN. Okay? Alright. Bookmark that page. You'll have one-click access every single day to the radio show. Now, there are two significant events every day at CFRN. There's the live training room, which is open from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern. We take a 30-minute break, go to the makeup trailer, and then scoot into the studio to do the radio show from 12 to 2 p.m. Eastern. On Thursday, there are 3 significant live events here at CFRN. Tonight is our Partners Workshop. Now, anyone can take the trial in the live training room. Anyone on the trial can get a mentoring session, but only partners are allowed in the partners meeting. So if you've been on a trial this week and you want to be in that meeting tonight, go to the email Michael sent you that explains how to become a partner, and if you can't find it or the dog ate it, let us know. Send us an email, support@cfrn.net, or just call us, 949-423-6464. 949-423-6464. Keep in mind, when I'm on the air, I can't answer the phone, and when Michael's on the air, he can't answer the phone. He's going to come in about 3 minutes and give us a recap of the live training room. Once he signs out, then he will be able to answer your call. Let me give you the numbers real quick from around the world, and then we'll go to Michael. These are the cash markets starting in the U.S. The Dow is up 40 points. NASDAQ is up 16. S&P 500 is up 1.25. Russell 2000 is down less than a point. In the commodity basket, crude oil is up 9 cents, trading $56.69 last. Gold is up $6.80, that's half of 1%, trading $12.55.40 last. In the Asian markets, which were red yesterday, they are red again today. The Nikkei down 63 points at the close. Shanghai down 9.5 points. Hang Seng down 56 points. No movers, no shakers, but certainly the color of the day is red, both in Asia and Europe. FTSE at the close down 48 points, over half of 1%. DAX down 57 points, almost half of 1%. And the CAC down 42 points, well over half of 1%. So there you have it. Asia, red. Europe, red. And here in the U.S., we are green with the exception of the Russell, which is just flirting with the zero line. Okay? Now, there's much, much more to talk about. You've seen a chart of the S&P. Let me show you Bitcoin today. Now, if you are with Daniel's Trading, if you have a live account, you can now view the Bitcoin futures contract from the CBOE. It'll be on the demo platforms in a couple days. I use a demo platform here for the radio show because I get distracted and things happen and I don't want to make a fat-fingered mistake. So as soon as it's available in the demo, we'll be showing that each and every day here on the program for you. But these are the spot prices right now.
Oh, what was the symbol for that again, Dwayne?
If you hang tight now, you can go ahead and start taking things over. Oh, and by the way, guys, I just adjusted the zones on the S&P, and so those are this week's zones, and you can see we're finding support at 64.65, and we never hit that particular zone overhead. Hang on, Michael, I'll have that in 1 second.
That is also the low of the day. The low of the day is at 64.50.
Okay, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. Shoot, you know what? He sent me he sent me some text messages and some emails, and let me go find it.
Yeah.
And
I read something somewhere that he sent. I don't know if it was
to whoever it was in the training room that tried to hip me to the fact that I had an open mic. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Here it is.
Fortunately, it was a little late. It's BT.
Symbol is X. No, it's XBTF8. XBTF8.
Right. Which it looks like it's going to bring up mini soybeans until you throw that T in there.
Okay.
Everybody write this down. XBTF8. Now, that's not the CME futures contract on Bitcoin. That's the CBOE. And in a couple months, the NASDAQ's going to come out with a futures contract. I think they're spreading it a little thin, you know?
Yeah.
Do we really need 3 separate contracts? So that's it right there.
That is it right there.
Okay, look right there. Bearish cross. Price pulls away. Price pulls back. Almost touches the BBC. Down, close. Bang. I told you guys, we'll trade this sucker exactly like we've traded everything else. Why? Because a chart is a chart is a chart. But they have different personalities. Hey, I'm not looking to go to the movies or take a long walk on the beach. I just want to get in and get out. Get my goal for the day and go. That's it.
See ya.
See ya. Okay, Wayne Jett, who I told you guys in the training room, was going to call and try to get his problem with GoToWebinar fixed. Just emailed me, Dwayne. I just got off the phone with tech support. They fixed the problem. Looks like I can come on today. Usual time. Okay. I'm going to email him and say yes, or even 12:45. So Wayne Jett will be joining us today.
All right. That's good stuff.
All right, buddy. I'll hit mute. It's all yours.
Okay. All right. Well, I will jump right in here then. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Today is Thursday. It's Thursday. Damn, whole week's almost gone by again already. We only have 2 Thursdays left this year. Can you believe that? Anyway, it is Thursday, the 14th day of December, 2017. We have a partners meeting tonight. Everyone who is an active partner will be emailed a link to get into the partners meeting around 6 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to go to the meeting and you are not a partner, you must become a partner before the meeting. If you don't know how to do that, send an email to support@cfrn.net and just put partner info in the subject line. And I will be happy to send you all the information you need to become a partner. All right, so let me bring this up. Hang on. Here, we'll go through this first. All right, if you're going to look at the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Hang on. Here we go. All right, today's the 14th day of December. As I said, we're plus 20 on the Russell. We're plus 13 on crude. We're minus 8 on gold. That puts us at plus 150 overall. Today it took 65 minutes and 5 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $135 per contract, and we took a total of 14 trades. So on the month now, the gross is $1433.75. That's over 10 days, averaging $143 per day. And I think we have 9 days left this month. Hang on, let me just go check that. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 days left this month. I think. Anyway, on the year, 32,302. That's over 234 days, averaging 138 per day. That is 1 contract, 2 hours per day. Okay, 1 contract, 2 hours per day. All right, this one. If you have not taken the free trial with us, go to the home page here at cfrn.net. That is cfrn.net, where it says sign up for the CFRN live training room, 100% free trial. User indicators, learner strategy. Click here. When you click there, you'll be brought to this page. Now, on this page, all we ask for is your email, your first name, and how you found us. You hit that submit button and you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link, okay? You must click on the confirmation link. If you don't click the confirmation link, then you don't get a free trial. All right? Well, here, I'll leave it over here for right now. Now, let's go through what happened or didn't happen. In the gold, we started out right here. Well, it looks like, yeah, there was nothing there. Then we started out right here, stopped us out pretty much to the tick, and then it went down and did what it should have done. The second opportunity was over here. We ended up with a break even on that when it closed right there on the MA1. Let's see, during the break, it was really, well, may have been a short right in here during the break. Momentum short right there during the break. And it's setting up another one right now. We need a down close right now. The euro, we didn't do anything with the euro today. We missed a few with the euro, it looks like. Let's see, right in here, this was in the pre-market, but I had that leg down. And right here at 9:30, I had another leg down. Right here, I had a shorting opportunity, but you know what the problem was right here on the euro? It was pushing in lows of the day. That's why this one was okay, but this one was not, this one was not. And then it reset the cycle, and it had a long right in there. It didn't work out at all. I saw that after the fact. And it's just been really choppy since then. So not a lot there on the euro today. Okay, on crude, we started off strong on crude. We missed this one, we missed that one. We got 10 ticks on this one, then 6 more ticks on that one to put us at plus 16. And we stopped out, put us back down to 0. Then we picked up 4 here and 2 there to put us at plus 6. Then another 2 there to put us at plus 8, and 5 there to put us at plus 13. And we missed this one, and this one. And then during the break, looks like there was a break-even trade, and that's about it. Okay, now the Russell, we had some action on the Russell today. So let's go back here. We missed that trade right there, but then we grabbed, the first one on the Russell was 6 ticks, then 5 ticks to put us at plus 11. We missed that one, and that one. Then 6 ticks here to put us at plus 18. We missed that one and that one. And we picked up 10 ticks there to put us at plus 28. And then we stopped out here to put us at plus 20 on the morning. During the break, there was a long opportunity there and there. Between those two, there was probably 15 ticks. And it looks like that's all there was. Okay. The ES was a total mess this morning. We didn't do anything with the ES. It was a wreck. See right here, it would have been just about, yeah, it would have been new lows for the day right here, so we wouldn't have done anything in there. Okay, there was nothing on the ES that was tradable today. Alright, so back here. Alright, if you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the home page at cfrn.net, and right up here on the top it says sign up for the CFRN live training room, 100% free trial. User indicators on our strategy, click here. When you click there, you will be brought to this page where we ask for your email, your first name, and how you found us. Then you hit the submit button. Once you do that, you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link. Okay, if you don't click the confirmation link, well, we don't know you took the trial. Okay, so you must click that confirmation link. Alright? Alright. And that's all I have. So with that, I will pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona. Studio A. Wait, I want to look at, before I go away, I want to look at the Bitcoin one more time. So this morning on the Bitcoin, right in here at the open, we had a pullback. Right here would have been a short. Now, I don't know how much this thing is per tick. What does it say? Its price fluctuation is $1 per Bitcoin.
Did you call me?
I'm about to pass it back over to you, but I'm trying to figure out what this is per tick in here.
Oh, I can tell you. I've got that information. If you want it. You want it?
Price fluctuation is $1 per Bitcoin.
Okay, you're reading the same thing I got.
Yeah. Does that mean it's $1 per tick? I don't know what that means.
I think. Here, let me just bring up my copy of the same thing you're reading. I got it right here. Okay, here we go. All right, maximum position limit per account, 5 contracts. Price fluctuation, $1 per tick, I guess. But that thing's got 8 zeros, doesn't it?
Well, we're gonna have to figure this out.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely got the volatility that we want.
So, like, if I look at a chart, like on our website, cryptodailyinfo.com, it shows the current price as $16,828.40. Oh, you know what? The digits are those extra that's U.S. dollars. Those extra digits.
Yeah, the decimal points. I think we wiped the decimal points off.
Well, no, when you convert it, that's when it like if I was going to send you 0.0321674 bitcoins, that's obviously less than 1 bitcoin. But when we translate that into U.S. dollars, it's going to be a round number with 2 decimal points. Follow me?
Okay.
Not really?
Sorta.
Yeah, I know.
No, I follow you. But the way it is on the chart, because it said price fluctuation is $1 per Bitcoin. So what I'm thinking, if you're looking at this chart right here, you see how I have it at 17,004.39. That 0.39 is going to go away. It's going to be 17,004 to 17,005.
Well, is the next tick up? Open a DOM. Can you open a DOM? Is that possible?
I can try. I might have too many. Okay. Here's a DOM.
Okay.
And
all right.
You see the
so each one of those ticks, I'm assuming they're saying is worth $1.
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
Well, that's not.
Each tick is $1, so we just take the decimal places off. It'll be like the YM.
So it goes up $10 and only pays $1. That doesn't make sense.
No, if it goes up $10, it pays $10.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You see?
Max
so
position limit per account is 5 contracts. Okay. Now remember, this isn't the CME version that we've talked about in the past.
This is the SIBO.
This is the SIBO.
And the CME may have more volume when it comes out on Monday. You can see that there's really a lack of liquidity in here right now.
Initial margin, 44% of the current daily settlement price. Initial margin, $7,504.20. Day trading margins are 100% of the initial margin.
Yeah, right now.
What is no give in or give out trades allowed? What is that?
I don't know.
It's at the very bottom of that email you're looking at.
I know. Well, right now I'm looking at the margin requirement right now. 7,559 is what the margin requirement is right now.
That's different than what Bert emailed me.
I know. Well, he emailed you yesterday. It was based on yesterday's close, I think.
Okay.
Or something. I don't know. I just clicked on it.
No give in or give out trades will be allowed. I've never heard that terminology in all the years we've been doing this.
No, I don't get that either. Give in or get out trades.
Overnight margins, the customer must have 125% of the exchange initial margin to carry the position overnight.
Yeah. And weekend margins, you got to have 200%.
Wow, because of the Sundays tend to be so volatile. Sunday nights.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's big stuff right there.
It's huge. It could be huger than huge. I don't have a tape measure.
Well, and you know what? We're going to find out on Monday when the CME starts to carry it. But,
no, the CME doesn't come out to the 18th, does it?
Which is Monday.
Oh, I thought you said tomorrow. I'm sorry.
No, Monday. Monday.
Yes, Monday. Okay. Okay, so you ready for me to take this thing?
Yeah, I can pass it back
I'm
over
in
to
no
you.
rush, but...
No, fabulous Phoenix, Arizona. Studio A overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Yeah, go ahead, take it back, because You have Wayne Jack coming on here in a few minutes, and if you're going to get John on in here, then give him a little time.
Wayne and John, they like to talk to each other, so.
Okay.
I usually just go to the bathroom. No,
Make sure you shut off your mic.
I'm teasing. I don't. Okay, you can see my chart.
I can see your chart, yes.
All right, and now look at this, guys. We had on the Concierge Trade Alerts last night, no long trigger, no short trigger. Weeping woe. Weeping woe. Okay, now, let's roll back. When was Sunday night? What day?
It was Sunday night.
The 11th?
No, the 10th.
10th, I mean.
10th to 11th.
10th, yeah. Okay, so the zone below, for this week, below 64.65 is 50.51. So let's move these old zones from last week up to 51. 50.51. Okay, because I just kind of want to point out to everybody that, let's see, let's go back to the 10th. Is that it? Okay, right there, that candle marks the Sunday night Globex open. So let's do like we do. Well, actually, I usually put an arrow there, don't I? Code talk. Code talkers. Alright, so Sunday night Globex open, we get up to the zone overhead. We do consolidate for quite a bit of time, and then we make a run, and this is one of those times when a zone becomes like a center of gravity. The price oscillates above it and below it and above it, and it can't seem to break away. And when that happens, I got to tell you, it's frustrating. Not that it didn't give you some opportunities, it just never made it all the way up to the next zone. Doesn't mean it won't. I mean, it keeps coming back to rest at 64.65. If that gives way, could we see 50.51? I don't know. Do we have any major news coming out tomorrow? You already gone, Mike? I put a bell on that cat. He's probably just on the phone. Because I know people are calling. Okay. All right, well, let me just take it over then. Let me see if John's here. No, not yet. Okay. All right, let's take a quick look at some of the stuff that's happening out in this big, wonderful world in which we live. The FCC is planning to repeal net neutrality. Now, you probably know what net neutrality is, but if you don't, this is my thumbnail understanding. Equal internet service providers, ISP. Like for me, my internet service provider is Cox Communications, the local cable company. Yours could be whoever. Maybe you got dial-up on AOL. I don't know. But Cox Communications cannot allow a faster path to one company and a slower path to another company under the current law. In other words, let's say Netflix was giving them a kickback to provide more bandwidth to customers trying to access Netflix so that Netflix customers would have a better viewing experience. Currently, that's illegal. Everybody is supposed to get equal access. But the FCC is voting, and word is they're going to repeal this law. This means companies like Netflix will legally be able to pay Cox Communications to give their customers a better, faster connection. Now, if anyone in the studio audience has a better understanding or definition of net neutrality, I would love to hear that. Okay, Robin, Bert worked it out with you that you are going to come tomorrow because I didn't get a chance to promote that you were going to be on. I also, Wayne Jett couldn't get logged on yesterday. He's coming today. And in all fairness to you, I want you to have a great show with us. So Bert said that you would be on tomorrow. Now, you want to get to old sessions of the show. Go to emini.cfrn.net or go to youtube.com/CFRN. Now, you'll have to do a lot of scrolling down, but you will find every show we ever did together. Or go to cfrn.net/emini-news-blog. And again, oh, you know what, Robin? Let me show you the best way to do it. Hopefully you're still in the audience and I'm not just talking to the air. Okay? This might even help everybody. cfrn.net/emini-news, not muse, blog. Okay? It's going to take you to this page. Ooh, that's not the page I wanted. Okay. Alright, let's do it a different way. What do you say, guys? You want to do it a different way? Alright. How about the right way? Go to Emini Radio Blog right there. See it? One click. Bing. Aha. Now, here's what you're going to do. If you have a Chrome browser like I do, you're going to click that. And you're going to go to Find. You're going to type in Robin. And, well, there's no way you were only on the show twice. You were on the show every day for years, but I know we did one-on-one shows. Robin Dane, the Trader's Coach. Alright, Robin. This is how you're going to find them. I don't know if you wrote down in like a diary or something days that we did the special shows, but I know. Did we call it something? Did we give it some name other than Robin? God, you're on so many Fridays. Huh. Alright, I'll figure out a way. And I'll get the word out. And you'll be famous again. Well, you'll always be famous. Wayne T, Wayne J will be here just shortly. Still waiting for John. Robin, can you let me know you got my message? Okay. Okay. Whew. It's been a long day, man. It's so early. I don't even know how that happens. Alright, after net neutrality, that's big in the news. Disney struck an industry-changing $52 billion deal. And now everybody's talking to everybody. Republicans have a final deal on their tax bill. Yeah, you know, I'm not exactly crazy about this either, because one of our most treasured deductions that we've all had all our life, they take it. The bill proposes cutting the corporate tax rate to 21%, higher than the 20% in the House and Senate versions, but still much lower than the current 35%. It would also lower the top individual tax rate to 37% from the current 39.6%, a more generous cut than the Senate version had proposed. I mean, to notice a 2.6% change in the tax rate, for it to be noticeable, you got to make a whale of a lot of money. The bill, called the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, is in a conference committee to iron out discrepancies. We're very, very close. It's going to happen. We're going to get it for Christmas. Keep the estate tax, but raise the threshold to qualify. Currently, the threshold is $5.6 million. They're going to raise it to $11 million. A 20% deduction for pass-through businesses. Pass-through businesses in which the owner books profits as their income, like an LLC or S-Corp, would get a 20% deduction on their income. This is more similar to the Senate version, but less generous than the proposed 23%. They're going to repeal the corporate alternative minimum tax. The corporate AMT in the Senate version was a sore spot for many companies because it would have negated the effects of many popular deductions and credits, such as the research and development credit. Adjust the cap for mortgage interest deduction. The cap would be lowered to $750,000 from the current $1 million. This is higher than the $500,000 cap proposed in the House version. The Senate version would have left it unchanged. So, I mean, unless you live next to the Clampetts, maybe that won't affect you, if I understand it properly. Does not include the House's graduate student tax. The House bill would have taxed tuition waivers for graduate students like normal income, which critics say could have crippled many universities' graduate programs. Even some Republicans came out against the provision. The Senate version did not include it, and the compromised bill will not include it either. Now, this is one that burned a lot of people up. Compromise on the state and local tax deduction. The bill would allow people to deduct up to $10,000 in state and local property taxes or the same amount of income and sales taxes, a nod towards appeasing House members in states with high taxes. You used to could write all of that off. Repeal Obamacare's so-called individual mandate. This proposal to eliminate the requirement that most Americans have health insurance or pay a fine was in the Senate's version of the bill. Given the GOP's longtime desire to repeal and replace, Republicans are likely to support this. And it keeps a slew of popular tax breaks. Medical expenses, student loan interest, tax-free private activity bonds. In addition to last-minute tweaks, the final bill will likely include large-scale changes to the types of deductions that individuals and businesses can take, as well as other tax adjustments in the House and Senate versions. Marco Rubio was making noise on Twitter about not making the child tax credit more generous in the compromise bill. He tweeted on Tuesday, 20.94% corporate rate to pay for tax cut for working family making $40,000 was anti-growth, but 21% to cut tax for couples making $1 million is fine. Well, I don't know. Maybe you have a valid point there, Marco. Republicans can only afford 2 defections in the Senate for the bill to pass. Republican Senator Bob Corker of Tennessee voted against the legislation when it moved through the chamber earlier this month. Oh my God, and Ed Corey's coming on today too. Holy smokes. All right, I got to text you back and tell him okay. Okay. All right, so we got John, we got Wayne Jett, and we got Ed Corey. And tomorrow we got Robin Dane, the trading coach. But so far, it's still just you and I. Okay? Okay. What else important going on out there today? I'm just skimming these things, guys. I'm trying to do like 1,000 things today. 3 U.S. men have pled guilty to the Murrah botnet attack, which took down Reddit, Twitter, and other popular sites last year. The 3 men launched the attack in order to get an advantage in the popular game Minecraft. I don't know if you allow your kids to play Minecraft or your grandkids, but there are many who suspect that there is something malicious, not in the code, but in the spirit of that game. And it looks quite innocent, okay? But it has an incredibly addictive power over children. So all I'm saying is be careful. I mean, it's not like Grand Theft Auto where they're shooting cops and, you know, abusing women and doing drugs. It's not like that, but there's something creepy about it. Facebook said a single Russian group spent less than $1 on 3 ads during the UK's Brexit vote, which were seen by 200 British users at the most. The MP probing Russian meddling in the referendum, Damian Collins, disputed Facebook's claims and said the firm needed to carry out further investigations. iPhone X has overtaken the adoption of iPhone 8 and iPhone 8 Plus. Mixed panel data shows iPhone X adoption currently stands at 4.76%, ahead of the iPhone 8 Plus at 3.59%, and the iPhone 8 at 2.78%. I've heard many people say that I probably would have bought the iPhone 8 if the 10 hadn't come out. But the 10's so much better, and it's only a few $100s more. So I think we're going to have a lot of iPhone 8s on the shelf. Microsoft will integrate artificial intelligence into its search engine Bing for smarter use, such as getting multiple answers to a question and conversational search. It has also struck a partnership with Reddit, front page of the internet, to surface results from the site more effectively. Google is going to roll out Assistant to older phones and tablets running Android. Assistant will now be available on phones running Android Lollipop 5.0, tablets on 7.0, and 6.0, also referred to as Marshmallow. Now, this assistant that they're referring to, I believe, is something similar to Alexa that you can put on your phone. Now, a lot of people wonder, you know, this Alexa I keep hearing about, what can she do? I mean, what's up with that? Why don't we find out? Why don't we? That's not the page to find out on. Okay. CNET, there was a time, as a matter of fact, when I first started talking about Bitcoin, back around 2010, that's where I learned about it, from a podcast on CNET that no longer exists. Isn't that amazing? Okay, I just want to give you like well, this isn't what I was looking for. Give me one more minute and then we'll just drop it. Alexa, call the Arizona Corporate Commission.
I couldn't find that device or contact name.
Yeah, see, you get a lot of that. You can control your smart home, which my home's not that smart. Alexa, I need a recipe for apple pie.
Okay.
Our cities are falling.
I recommend traditional baked
The
ones.
world is being
Takes 110 minutes.
Alexa, stop it.
To take back our home, we'll need speed.
Alright, I got a commercial playing in the background and I can't find it.
Courage. It'll be tough.
I hate these
We
things.
need you. The war to take back the planet begins now.
Okay, it finally stopped on itself. Now, of course, no, it didn't. Where is this commercial coming from?
Call Rycrest.
Okay.
I'm going to get a special browser that does not allow for this.
Hey Dave, what's up?
Now, those of you in the audience, you can't hear it, but the people listening to the podcast are going to be tortured by it. Unbelievable.
Preheat my oven for turkey.
You'd like me to set your oven convection roast
I'm
at
just gonna-
325 degrees Fahrenheit for turkey, right?
Yes.
Today's CNET Tech Today update.
This is CNET, and here are the stories that matter right now.
Okay, I had to close that page. I'll make a list tomorrow and share it with you. It's pretty interesting, some of the stuff. Here comes John. He doesn't have his microphone hooked up yet, but now he does. Hey, John, welcome to the show.
Hi there. Sorry I'm a bit late.
Oh, no problem at all. You know, Wayne, I had him call GoToWebinar, and they helped him figure out why he hasn't been able to log in. So he's going to pop in about 1:45, and then I just got a text. I forgot today was every other Thursday, so Ed's going to join us too about top of the hour. So we got a full house today. That's great.
Okay, well that's very well.
Yeah. That's awesome.
A pre-Christmas natter.
Yeah. So I'm really glad you're here.
Thanks. We got some stuff going on today. Actually, I had kind of an outage earlier on, and so it was a bit chaotic. But I did say I thought the markets would start correcting yesterday, and they did. You know, they were kind of reluctant to go down, but they're starting to go down right now, and the Dow is down 32.
Can you see my chart, John, that I have up?
Yeah.
Okay, if you couldn't see the time across the bottom, could you tell us when the Fed announcement was? If you couldn't see the time at the bottom? Yeah, well, my point's like, remember the old days when you get a Fed announcement and the S&P'd run 50 points in one direction and 50 points in another? I mean, it's a non-event. And she spent 15 minutes slamming cryptocurrency. Bitcoin dropped $1,500 while she was yapping, and I texted a few people and said, "Guys, here's your buying opportunity." And you know,
she went right back up. Typical Fed.
Yep.
And actually, you know, well, I do believe that the impact of the higher rates is starting to be felt. In the sense that we're seeing lower prices today, but it's a kind of a delayed reaction, and we're sort of running out of good news. You know, look, I mean, the tax bill is pretty much done, and I think they're going to engineer a way to rattle the markets ahead of it, just like they did, just like the Brian Ross thing came out of nowhere.
I don't even know about this. Tell me.
Well, remember the Brian Ross. You know, thing that tanked the Dow 350, 400 points that day, a couple of Fridays ago.
Yes, okay.
Right after that, they voted the next day on the Saturday, right? And then the Dow opened a couple of hundred points higher on Sunday night, right?
Right.
So what the Brian Ross thing did is it created a kind of what I call a booster buy. You know, this big spike basically told you we had a positive outcome coming thereafter, and obviously it was hugely positive, and we've been basically you know, running off that tax positive pretty much since they passed it. You know, it's been pretty powerful. It's been the now, but as I said yesterday, what is happening today, actually, in reality, is the indices are diverging somewhat. It's not alarmingly apparent yet. It would be alarmingly apparent if we were to drop several percentage points from here. Everybody would say, "Oh, look at the divergence." You know what I mean? So, in other words, we made a new high on the Dow. I think we made a new high today, and nothing else did for the first time in a while. Yesterday, the FAS, which is the Financial Banks Index, basically opened just shy of a new high and tanked immediately for the whole day, and it's down again today. The mid cap did not make a new high. As a matter of fact, it's one of the weaker performers. The SOX is actually up today a little bit, but it's been the worst performing, just about the worst performing index along with the drugs. So, and then you had the S&P made a new high. Then the Nasdaq made a kind of a double top. So that's a pretty good example of divergence among the top indices. And by the way, the transports also tanked. It did not make a new high either. So you could actually make an argument that we've put in all the requirements for a major high in the market. Now, does that mean that it is a major high? Look, that's the reason why you have to be defensive when you see something like this coming, because nobody rings a bell at the top, and tops happen. We don't know what's going to happen next week or next day. You had Putin coming out today, sort of defending North Korea. That's not a very good development, and sort of almost kind of siding with them. You got Iran is about to be called out for something, for non-compliance. So saber rattling going on. You never know; war could break out at any time. Something like that would definitely rattle the market, and it's starting to actually accelerate down a little bit now. And your chart looks pretty ominous because it's breaking down through one of your support lines there.
Well, last night we said to sell 24,660 if you got the chance. We did, and if it takes this out, now here's the thing. I told Michael this the other day, and I think I told the guys in the live training room. The Dow's been leading the S&P this week, and our highest weekly trading zone for the Dow for this week, and every partner can verify this. I ain't trying to pull nobody's leg, but 24,680/685, and because we got so close to this highest zone early on in the week, I said, Michael, look for a sell-off into the week and look for it to be led down by the Dow as it was led up by the Dow. So 24,
good point. That's exactly what's going on here today.
Now, guys, at the beginning of the week, I sent all of our partners this number right here, and I said, that's our highest weekly zone for the Dow. That means we don't believe that the Dow will close above 24,685 by close of business tomorrow. How could I give you that number at the beginning of the week? Well, we've been doing it for 8 years. So take the trial and let me show you.
Yeah, you know what, Dwayne? There's no place on earth said that. This is a unique thing here. I'm telling you, there's nobody in the world.
It's very kind for someone with your experience and many years in the industry to say that. I'm touched. I really am.
Well, it's true, and this is what I've been. This is what I've been looking at as well as the potential double top being formed, and the slightly higher high here and there. If you put the Dow up for a minute, the Dow Futures.
This is the Dow right here, Dow Futures.
Oh, it is. Oh, yeah. Can you elongate it out a bit?
Or shrink it up? You mean?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Let me pull it in like that, and then pull it up like this.
Is that the Dow Jones or the futures?
Well, this is the Dow Futures. I only have access on this platform to futures.
Okay.
So the Dow Cash Market, I'm not able to show you.
Oh, you need to do it a little bit more. You need to get more back, more data, more.
Do you want me to go to a daily or an hourly or something?
Hourly.
Okay, because it's on 30 minutes right now, so I'm put it on hourly. Okay.
Okay, you see that steep trend line? See, that's actually getting broken.
Let me jump over here. Let me change this to the Dow, YMH8. Okay. Now let me put this, and there won't be all those marks on there that are distracting.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, the trend line is a little bit more defined on my. Okay, there you go. They say no. Go to where you squeeze it up a bit more. Okay, now you see that trend line there. You see that?
Talking about going way back here.
Well, when you see a trend line like that, a definable trend line, and it breaks, it usually has bad consequences. Pretty bad consequences.
Are you talking about running it?
No, I'm talking about the steeper part of it. The steeper. Yeah, that's good. Keep that one there. Put that one there. But then put the other one. See, it could easily drop down to that trend line right now. For one, that's an important trend line, obviously, right?
Now, maybe you're talking about
that one. Yeah, exactly.
That one right there. Okay.
That's what I'm talking.
Sure.
Yeah. That's a definitive thing. That's it doesn't mean to say we can't rebound today. We might, this market, you can never rule that out. But if we start rolling over tonight, and given that we've seen weakness in Japan and China and some of these other places, and Europe even, and then we sort of start a worldwide correction, it really could get some downside momentum going in this market. And the VIXs are just about trying to turn. They're as far they're probably being manipulated, but they just put in a kind of a double bottom here, so it's possible that we might have seen a lows on the VIXs for ahead of a possible strong rally. So what I was thinking is, see that you've got a line at 242,100. See that line there? That could be where the market could come down to.
Talking about right
or
here.
It could come.
Mm-hmm.
Where you got that red line going across. That's a possible extreme target if we get a really sharp correction.
242,100. Wait a minute. That's too many digits.
Sorry, 24100. Sorry,
24100. Okay.
No, sorry. Yeah, 24100. Right there.
Yeah, right
that's
there.
It.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's a kind of because I think it could come down and test that Brian Ross low.
Oh, and see that spike right there? When there's a spike like this, just for whatever it's worth, when I'm doing my work, I look at this, I see this as an anomaly of types. Doesn't mean I forget that was the low on that day, but it wasn't there very long. I mean, this is an hourly chart. It shot down and it shot back up in an hour. Kind of a non-event. Doesn't mean the market didn't go there, but there wasn't a lot of activity. Now, I'm not getting into market profile. That's a whole different ball of wax, but I understand why they look at that. Okay.
Yeah. And then you see how it got retested and it held, and then it started this trend, this rebound trend.
Mm-hmm.
But actually this rebound trend, the strength of the market, in my view, has been deteriorating throughout that uptrend. Why do I say that? Because a lot of stocks, while they've gone up and helped that trend form, they've actually been a lot of stocks have been going down, especially the FANGs and other things like that. So it tells me that if we get any sort of downside momentum developing here, I mean, what everybody's forgotten about? They've all forgotten about that one rally, that one sell-off that comes where all of a sudden there's no bids, right? Mm-hmm. And the one that goes way below anybody ever thought. Could that happen before Christmas? Probably not, but you never know. And so you have to look at a trend break like this as being one that could turn into something of a debacle, just when nobody's expecting it. Because, how can the market deliver the maximum amount of pain to everybody? Right now, by having a very savage correction, could do that.
Now,
and
John,
it could wind.
I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish your thought.
And look, everybody's gotten so used to this. When you see a trend like that, and the market's been going up relentlessly every day, and it seems to never stop getting support. You sort of shake your head and saying, when you sort of just get so used to it, it's almost like there's no risk in the market. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you and I, everybody understands why we drew those trend lines. Then you either have to look at the entire move with fibs or the last leg of the journey. So what I did was I fibbed the last leg of the journey from this low to this high. All right, so that gives us the 24 and the 38 and the blah, blah, blah. Now, look over here, okay? That top is going to, I promise you, provide some good support. If price comes into this area, it's going to hit a 38% fib retracement. It's going to hit a very important trend line. And we already know, just because we know how to read charts, that buyers are going to step in there. And so the question is will it fall here quickly? Because if it connects with the 38, the good support that we are confident will be there, and this trend line, if that all intersects at the same time, it's probably going to give us quite a bounce. Now, it's got to drop precipitously. Is there any major news tomorrow, John, that can move the markets?
Don't know, but
I'll look, and let me open Ed's mic. He's sitting there, and he doesn't have a lot of time. Hey, Ed, join the conversation, my friend. Ed Corey. Oh, he must have logged in and walked away from his computer. Okay,
another thing, Dwayne, is on the daily.
My mic.
Hey, Wayne Jett, welcome to the show, buddy. So glad you got on.
Happy to be here.
Folks, we're missing you.
Interrupt though. I've been listening, and a very interesting discussion you're having, so I don't want to interrupt.
No, well, good. I just want you to know you got an open mic, so if you want to interject something, please go ahead. Continue, John.
So, no, well, I just went to the daily, and if you look at the daily on the Dow, you've actually got a little double top there that could turn into something, if we sort of get down towards 24,500, which is not that far away, it would see that little double top there? And that's kind of a dangerous looking formation, frankly, especially if we were to gap down tomorrow. That would be and develop some downside momentum. That a real shakeout could start.
Here, since we're on a new contract, let's do this. Let's go to the continuous contract, if it will let us, at YM. Okay, now that should do it. Oh, it's already on it. Whoops. All right. So now we can pull in more data and get even better idea. Okay, so it looks like this would have been our last major low back September, October of last year. Is that correct? Is that kind of what you show?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just grab a little fib tool.
That's the Trump bottom right there.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yep. Yeah. Oh boy. All right. So see, guys, based on the bigger picture on the daily chart on a continuous, we could fall to 2,300, and that would only be a 24% retracement. So, a 50% retracement would take us back to 2,100. So we'd be down over 300 Dow points on the day. But in the grand scheme of things, that's just keeping the market healthy.
Mm-hmm.
The same way Janet gave the market a boost yesterday by talking it down for 15 minutes and talking it down $1,500. So, all right, that's good.
Yeah, even before we get too carried away with the downside, it's already trying to hold in here. So, if and they could easily run it back up before the end of the day.
Yeah, but look at the ZS. Man, it's been hugging this zone, John, 64, 65, practically all week. Can't seem to muster the strength just to get to the next zone, and that's
it honestly doesn't look like it can. If it does break down, it could actually
it's just
possibly accelerate.
That's a Viagra commercial or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's not good.
actually, the Dow's coming off right as we speak. It's gone lower again, so it's definitely getting. And by the way, the breadth is turning negative. It's been negative most of the day, which is another thing we haven't seen recently either. So that's an added problem for the market. So.
All right, let's talk gold for a minute.
Well, the gold is a whole different story. I think. It's interesting. We put in a kind of a head and shoulders bottom, intraday head and shoulders bottom from the 1239. That was basically the bottom, 1238, 1239. And we ran up to 1247, pulled back to 1243 yesterday, or the day before. And that was going into yesterday. And then we had the big rally up to 1250 or the low 1250s. Did a very brief pullback on the Fed news and then went up to 61. We actually sold it up near the highs, and we just bought it back a short while ago on that dip to 1254. And it's starting to look like it wants to go higher now. And obviously, if the market continues to break down, then we may see gold accelerate to the upside. And the silver actually just gave me a buy at 15.90, and I'm it's not a extremely good buy at the moment, but because the silver's lagging a bit, but it may turn into something. Yesterday the silver really came out of an abyss and ended up 40 cents or so on the day. So I wouldn't underestimate how much more this could go up if it decides that this is the next upswing. The nugget got up to 27.60 yesterday. It pulled back to 25.80 this morning. We put a buy at 25.90 after selling it, shorting it, and it's back up to 26.90. If it starts getting over 27 again, it's probably going to be a good buy, and I would be inclined to want to stay long the nugget because it feels like it could gap higher tomorrow and possibly next week as well.
Okay. So, now, John, these are this week's zones. I just updated them for the community at large. Now, you've been around the markets a long time. Why would anybody not want to trade with that information?
Well, it's powerful.
Because they don't know about it? I mean, I don't know. I'm always mystified. So.
Well, you see the little head and you see the head and shoulder. If you squeeze it up a bit, you see the head and shoulders bottom, the intraday.
Oh yeah, there's the head.
Yeah.
For those of you who are maybe new to markets and you've heard about head and shoulders, let me help you see this. This is a inverse head and shoulders. There's your head. Okay. Now let's put some epaulets on those shoulders.
Reminds me of my Navy days.
There we go.
Epaulets.
Now, all he needs is a little neckline. Now, how would you draw your neckline, John? Would you draw it like that?
Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah.
Okay. And so when price comes up through here and breaks that neckline, guys, bang. Now, here's how it's supposed to play out. It can, of course, always do better. That's not what I wanted. But what you do is you measure from the crown of the head, okay, to the neckline. And then you take this guy, and when you break that neckline, you're pretty sure you're going to at least go that distance. In this case, we went further, but look where it took us. Right to a weekly zone to the tick. Now that is what's called a measured move. And this is an upside down, inverse, head and shoulders. So, okay, what next, my friend?
Well, I might just step in here and just make an interesting observation.
There was something the other day you wanted to ask Wayne. I know that.
Oh yeah, in a minute. Just want to mention Santa Fe gold for a minute because it just made a new 6-month high this morning.
Oh.
And thanks. And it is sort of leading the market.
That's our stock pick of the year for any newcomers.
Yeah, it's actually been going up for multiple days, while the gold market was going down, which was a very strong sign. And there's, as per the recent releases, there's a lot of news pending, and I think some of that news probably be
This
coming
is
out.
when I gave it to the partners. They got a quick quadruple out of it. Then it came back, flatlined most of the year, and here we go, getting ready to crank up the jams again. And anyone who wants the original research report, 150 pages, email me gold@cfrn.net, and I will send it to you. It's 150 pages. A lot of important. And there's been so many developments this year that that'll just whet your appetite.
Sure. In the process of closing on a silver mine acquisition, that's a pretty big deal.
When is that scheduled to close?
Any day. Could be any day. I think, obviously closing that deal could push the stock back up to the highs, maybe even a new 52-week high before the end of the year. I wouldn't rule it out. With this kind of, it's got a huge base, huge long base now, and generally speaking, the measured move. Speaking of measured moves, the measured move off this base is fairly exponential.
Now, should that measured move go the length of the base?
Usually, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, Ed, you have an open mic. You and Wayne both have an open mic, and John. Ed Corey?
Can you hear me? Hello, Dwayne. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Why don't you come stand on the same side of the room as your mic? It works better like that.
Same old thing.
See, I sit right at my desk where my mic is. That's how I do it. I don't know. I'm teasing you, brother.
I like this remote mic. It's really cool. A wireless mic. It's not wireless. It's obviously got a broken wire in it or something. Can you hear me?
I hear you good now. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to hold it right inside my mouth a little bit.
Here's my Christmas present to you, Ed. You and Wayne both. This is probably going to be my 2018 stock pick of the year 2 years in a row. I mean, the quadruple was nice, but I think there's so much more to be expected.
Santa Fe Gold?
Yes, sir.
How did you come up with that, Dwayne?
Buddy. Oh, I have been associated, affiliated, and known. Well, one of my best friends in my entire life used to be the CEO and then was the head of the board of directors. He traveled with me to Africa on a number of occasions. He was the single largest contributor to our orphanage there. Man, they just don't make guys. When God didn't make too many guys like that, and he was a very special person. And the fact that he was in not only a different zip code and income tax bracket from me, I mean, like light years away kind of thing, he never once made me feel like I was less than or poor, or like he would always try to pay for something because he had money and maybe I didn't have his, you know what I'm saying? And when we went to Africa, he was a huge, tall guy. Now, not only could he have afforded to fly first class, he could have bought out the whole first class. He rode in back in coach with us because that's just the kind of guy he was. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And we're like, Larry, you don't have to sit back here. Look at your knees, man. Go up there and get you a real seat. And he's like, no. I'm going to spend 18 hours back here with you guys. And he did.
You know what, Dwayne? A lot of guys like that, whether you were on the plane or not, or anybody that you may not ride first class.
If he was by himself, trust me, he'd have been in first class.
He would have been. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You know, some people that I've worked with and managed money for, they have really gone out of their way not to show that what they've got, and you know, they are very humble, the cars they drive and stuff like that. And you know, one of these guys was a billionaire, and he did not want anybody to ever know that. So he's very quiet guy. He was Chinese.
There's a question. There's a question in the chat box that I just can't resist. You should both have 375 billion by now, yet you do not. Well, number one, why should we both have that number? And two, how do you know I don't have that number? I don't disclose my personal finances on this radio program.
Right. Well, I'll disclose it. I don't have that kind of money.
Okay. Well,
I'm not afraid to say it either.
All right. If
but I have managed money for people that have that.
If you're going to fess up, I will too. I do not have $765 billion in this pair of pants.
By the way, Dwayne, just so that I don't get accused of failing to notify people of trades, the VIX, we went back. Look, we didn't get the exact bottom of the VIX, but we got in at 20 yesterday, and we held it since. It went down to 29 this morning, like I mentioned a while ago, and it's currently at 29.30 right now. The market's selling off. The VIXs are way undervalued compared to the market. They should be a point or two higher right now, easily. Like I say, they're probably being manipulated. But the Dow just took a bit of a... The NASDAQ has gone negative. That's the big deal today. And I think this net neutrality vote has provoked that.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. So that could be the beginning. This could be the beginning. Remember what I said? This is one of those days where nobody's expecting a sell-off, and there may be a lack of bids, which could result in a very much not much bigger than expected sell-off, but a sell-off that could rattle some people.
Certainly overdue.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah. So,
but it would be a buying opportunity, I would think, if they could get it far enough down, John, this month, quick enough that there'll be some saviors coming in here to save the market towards the end.
Oh no, for sure. No, it's guaranteed. And look, you have to remember, we're sort of retracing the steps of 86 right now, and any kind of a sharp break in this market would definitely be a buying opportunity because. Coming into the end of the year, with hardly a correction, it almost guarantees we're going to have a higher open and much higher trade in 2018, possibly as much as 10% or more. So it's and remember, in 87, which would be the equivalent of 2018, the market was up for the first 5 days of the year. It was up for the whole month. It was very, very dramatic. First January, there was incredible January. It was one of the greatest Januaries ever.
Yeah,
right. It was very, very dramatic, and it's sort of, the old expression, as goes the month, so goes the year, and the power of January told you we were going to have a pretty powerful year. Now, in the meantime, in April, we actually had a pullback in February of 87, and then back up in March, and then there was a 10% correction in April, or maybe 11%, and then it rallied 12%, right? And then it dropped 13% into early May, and of course, just about everybody threw in the towel at that point, right before a 30% rally into the summer, into August 24th. So, if we get any kind of, and we could repeat something like that this year, it could really happen, because the economy could really be, in fact, the seeds are being sown right now for a repeat of 87, because the dollar after yesterday is tanking, and what happened in 87 was the dollar went into a tailspin, and interest rates began to rise exponentially, and that was great for the first half of the year, and then when interest rates got too high, they started tanking the market, and what happened was interest rates, or bonds rather, and stocks were going down together, and that was a fatal formula until 2 o'clock in the afternoon on October the 19th, when bonds actually bottomed, the day before the market did. So it's a good lesson, because I was afraid to buy stocks, I can tell you that, but I did buy the bonds that afternoon, and they were up 400% by 6 o'clock that evening after hours, and they were up 1,000% a week later.
Yeah,
and the next day we had.
Let me ask you three learned men, my three wise men. This is perfect for Christmas. My three wise men here, Wayne, John, and Ed. There was a question in the chat box. Can you speak about capital flows. I'm not. Tom, can you maybe define that question a little more? Do any of you guys want to grab that and run with it? That's all it says. Can you speak about capital
What's
flows?
the last word? Closed? CLOSE?
No, flow. FLO. You
Flow.
know the girl that sells the insurance on TV, Flo? No, flows.
You certainly can speak about it in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I can't wait to ask Wayne a question
capital
about.
flow.
I can't wait to ask Wayne a question about Bitcoin. In fact, let me just throw it out, Wayne. There was an article 2 days ago that all the central banks are getting together, and since they can't stop Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, they're thinking, the central banks are thinking about rolling out their own official cryptocurrency. You want to weigh in on that? I mean, we're trying to decentralize. The Federal Reserve been stealing from us all our life. Now they're trying to figure out how to, how to do us again.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Wayne, what do you think? Wayne? Uh-oh. Did we lose Wayne? No, Wayne, you're there. Your mic's open, but I can't hear you, brother. Okay, he might have had to step away for a minute. So we'll ask him when he comes back. Okay.
Capital flow is what drives prices.
Yeah.
I mean, we get in the simplest terms.
Flow?
Okay, yeah, Tom said, yes, where big money goes. And then Jim said he's talking about Martin Armstrong. So, I don't know. I'll let you guys have that.
I think I'm back again.
Oh,
Can
okay.
you hear me now?
Yeah, did you hear my question?
I did.
Okay.
I was hearing you, but somehow my mic was on, but it was somehow muted. It wasn't picking me up.
Gotcha.
So I just double-clicked. As far as the Bitcoin thing, I certainly don't have a final answer to it, but I wouldn't be at all surprised.
Brother, we lost you again. The question is, central banks are plotting to launch official cryptocurrencies so that they can maintain control of the world, and we can remain their, financial slaves. So he'll pop back in a minute.
Well put,
he'll
Very
pop back. Yeah. Well, thank you. That's kind of you.
That's exactly what I would say too. Will they be able to do it? I'm not so sure. They don't have the trust of the people. They have the trust of. They don't have the trust of investors that have been around a while. They might have the trust of the masses. We don't know.
Question is, would they have the trust of the government that empowers the central banks to issue a currency that's blockchain?
Do they need the government to approve that for them, or do they have, under the realm of however they want to disguise it, say that we can do this now?
They're the Federal Reserve. They can do whatever they want.
They seem to think they can.
Well, that's what their actions have shown us over the years.
Yeah. It'll be interesting because you wonder what this administration will do with that.
I feel sorry for Wayne. I know he wants to comment on this, and his microphone's messing up on him.
I'll have to send him mine, Dwayne.
Oh, yeah, that'll solve it.
We'll know he's there. We just won't be able to hear him.
I'm going to give everybody a cheap $20 mic for a Christmas headset because those are the only ones that work.
I was out the other day and I meant to pick one up. It was at an electronics store and I forgot about it. Oh gosh, I need to get me another cheap one.
I seem to work a little bit here and there.
There you are, buddy. Okay.
Yeah. But as soon as I get rolling, it shuts me off again. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
Are you still hearing me?
Yes, sir. We hear you, and we want to hear anything you have to say about those central banks trying to create their own currency, their own cryptocurrency.
Well, for example, the reason the dollar began working when the Fed was created is because the currency it issued was passed by law as being required to be treated as the legal tender for all debts, public and private. And it basically still enjoys that status now. And it is still, even for Bitcoin, it is the measure by which the so-called value of Bitcoin is measured. And so what do we do to move the dollar into the actual Bitcoin arena? You can put it on blockchain. Mm-hmm. Are you still hearing me?
Yes, sir. Yep.
You can put it on blockchain, and there would still be no value behind the dollar. It would still be a matter purely of whatever those using the blockchain dollar would decide to assign to the dollar. It would certainly be an interesting question, which I really haven't thought through, as to how they would set the value of the dollar and how they would maintain it. I've said many times in our discussions that the primary nature of the currency needs to be a stable value, one that does not go up and one that does not go down. And that is the opposite of what Bitcoin is showing.
Right.
As I've said before, Bitcoin appears to be almost, not entirely, purely priced upon supply and demand. There is no value at the end of the tunnel except whatever anybody is willing to pay for it at the moment. So in that circumstance, those who labor for their pay and need their pay in order to feed their families that day, if when they get home from work with a small sliver of a Bitcoin in.
We lost you right there. Whichever way you turned your head, that was yeah. Okay.
Well,
go ahead.
Since he was on Bitcoin, what have you learned anything about Bitcoin Gold? Is that just a name?
No, it's
a crypto. Behind it?
No, it's a cryptocurrency. In fact, I can bring you up a chart on it. Stand by, because I'm, that kind of guy. So let's see. How do we? I don't know what the symbol is. Bitcoin.
I think it's BTG.
How about BTG versus USD? That's Bitcoin Gold Tether. Oh, here's Bitcoin Gold right here. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait.
That should be it.
So, wait, you think the symbol is what? BTG?
I'm just guessing.
Okay.
I
so
think I've seen it before.
USD. All right, let's go back to the BTGs. Okay, BTG versus the dollar. There we go. Okay. Now, what's your question? What do I think about it?
Is there anything, why is it just a name, gold, or is there some kind of affiliation they're trying to link to?
I think each coin represents a certain amount of gold. Okay, Tim in the audience says BTG is a fork of the original BTC. Just like, I guess, Bitcoin Cash. Sounds like Tim really knows what he's talking about. Tim, you should help me do the webinar Monday. Now, I know some of you don't know what a hard fork is. Google it, because that way you get the information explained in a very detailed and careful manner. It's not just some guy yapping on the radio. It's not that I don't know what it is, but I don't know that I'll put it in the proper words that it'll make sense. Okay.
Yeah, I've just been wondering. I haven't done enough research on it at all. If there's any kind of, if there is a direct link to gold, if they say this is a percentage of, this is backed by a percentage of gold, it might really mean something to, especially in a type of a panic thing, when the other cryptocurrencies might be, you know, in a free fall. Will this thing have a floor under it because of its link to gold? That's what I'm wondering. And not that I think the trend's going to change in them right now, but, you know, there's going to be, especially I think when they get the futures volume up. You know, the futures contract on the CME is going to start on Monday, right, Dwayne?
Well, the CBOE is already trading.
Right. I haven't been able to get that on my stuff. Have you had seen a chart on it, what it's done since it started?
Yeah,
on
Michael
Monday?
just had the chart up earlier.
Oh, okay. Okay. Is there any volume in it?
The first night it crashed the exchange. There was so much volume, and it's been slow since then.
Okay.
Margins are high. I mean, because the exchanges don't know how it's going to behave. Here's where I see a problem. Hey, CME announced first. CBOE beat them to the table. And now the NASDAQ in 2 months is coming out with their futures contract. I mean, do we need all these? That would be like having 3 different S&P 500 E-mini futures contracts. It would diminish the volume across the exchanges. I think it's a mistake. But
well, I would really be curious to know if you think you or John or Wayne thinks that they're going to try and use the futures to control the price of Bitcoin, being the government or the central banks, much like what they've done to the gold market.
Well, Sunday night, when the CBOE first started trading, futures were way ahead of the spot price. Higher. So, I don't know. But
They
this
weren't
is
there yet.
This is Litecoin right here, LTC. Now, after it doubled on these 2 days, after the price doubled, the developer of Litecoin put out a press release and said, guys, you better be careful. This thing's overpriced. And so then look what happened after that.
Wow.
It's like Elon Musk coming out saying his stock's, you know, too expensive. People should be careful. And then it runs up $100. I mean, it's a great. Yeah, I heard the test.
I think I'm back on with you.
Good.
I tried reconnecting, and so for the moment, my audio is working again. I think that tying Bitcoin to a or some coin to a
Brother, we lost you again. Hey, Wayne, try calling Bert and see if he can patch you through on the phone. 866-928-3310. That might be the ticket. Now, Tom, you asked, do you think that now that Bitcoin futures are traded, that will give relevance to Bitcoin? Well, brother, there's a $200 billion market cap. I think it's already relevant.
It's like 230 now, the last I saw.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's been relevant. If you haven't been to ChristianTraders.com and listened to that video at the bottom, the one that automatically starts to play and gives you goosebumps, I really think you should. And do I think the IRS would accept Bitcoin for payment? Someday they will, yes. In other countries, you can pay utility bills, parking tickets, so taxes, of course. They just want to get paid.
We'll know the dollar's in trouble when they demand Bitcoin for payment, right?
Ethereum has been on a bit of a tear this week. Now, we built our currency on the Ethereum blockchain, which is this guy right here.
It has been on a tear.
Yeah, this thing hit $750. Now, for those who don't know, NEO, N-E-O, is the Ethereum of China. And I own like a tiny bit of that. I think I bought $100 worth, but I think I now have like $400 worth. So,
I think I'm back with you.
Hey, buddy. All right.
I changed mics, and
okay.
So we'll see how this one goes. Okay. I was using my head mic that I used to use in the old days, and so I switched back to a mic in the video. So I'll try again. I've heard of I saw just this past week a new coin design that appears to be designed toward trying to be a currency that is something other than a severable asset, which is the way I see Bitcoin. In other words, base coin would be designed to have a stable value, and it would be eventually, when it goes into its long-term design, it would be essentially based on the value of a basket of commodities. Those have not yet been defined, but their illustration includes foodstuffs as well as, I assume, perhaps some other necessities. And so that would be a possibility. But again, that would be, even though done by blockchain, it would still be a fiat currency in my estimation, because there is really no value behind it and no way of guaranteeing that the issuer would not change the definition of the currency at some point in time. So even with Bitcoin, if it were used, for example, and tied to an amount of gold, you have the risk that supposedly in order to deliver the gold, they have to be willing to part with it on a daily basis when people decide, instead of Bitcoin, I want my gold. So you have to have some gold in the central holding area in order to satisfy that call upon the gold. And so you again have to depend on someone that turns out to be as dependable as Fort Knox, which of course has zero dependability.
Tim just gave us a link. I put it in the chat box for everyone. BTG is not backed by gold or anything else, and he gave us a link from thestreet.com, Understanding Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin Gold. So guys, even if you don't go there now, save that link, because that's good education. In fact,
as far as Bitcoin is concerned right now, basically my view continues to be that no matter how high it runs up, it can run the other way even faster.
I think you're right.
It could really turn out to be a pump and dump of monstrous proportions, especially when you get people the world over into the house before you shot fire. So we'll see how it goes, but the people who got in early, like in chain letters, look like they're solid gold right now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think, Wayne, when I get the charts, I'll be really quick, but I want to show some things on Bitcoin today.
I'm shooting them over to you right now. Stand by.
Speaking of Bitcoin, a friend of mine is very, very into this, and he's just actually liquidated his entire position at 18,180, and he's of the view that this Bitcoin is very close to crashing, and one of his reasons is he knows some of the people who are the biggest players in the game, and the original chain letter founders, if you like. Number of them are in the billions, and the market cannot, and they want to get out. And
but Peter Thiel doesn't want to get out. Bill Gates doesn't want to get out.
Well, you know,
I don't know. I'm glad you're bringing this. We want fair and balanced. We want all sides of the story.
Bill is not going to tell you before he gets out.
You know, we're right up against. In fact, that 18,180 is pretty close to the tulip high, and also one of the reasons why the tulip high popped was they introduced futures on tulips, believe it or not.
Really? Now, I did not know that part of the story.
Yeah, and so I believe that the reasonable bet that the CME, when it comes on this in the next few days, will may have an opposite effect than the CBOE, and it may be, we might. I'm not saying we go limit down, but you never know. Something like that could happen.
Oh, yeah, that's something else, guys, to keep in mind, that these futures contracts, right now, the way they're written, because exchanges are a little shaky because they don't know what could really happen, volatility-wise, price-wise. You can get locked, limit up or limit down in Bitcoin futures. Normally, you only have to worry about that in things like soybeans or lumber or, ag products. Right, John? What else can go limit up, limit down?
The NASDAQ, actually, among other things.
Okay, but that happens so rarely, right?
Yeah, well, might happen. These days with being as high as it is, it could happen one of these days. And if it does, if it goes limit down, stay short.
Because, do they just halt trading? Or do they lock it?
No, it goes limit down for a while, and then they open it up, and then it goes to the next level.
Okay.
Usually, you want to think about covering at the next level when that happens.
The last time I remember curbs kicking in was, I don't know, 2000, 2001 maybe? Am I forgetting something?
It's always scary when they kick in. Okay.
No. We went. I'll tell you when we last had it in 2008. My photographic memory. I can almost tell you the day. I think
was that in May?
I believe in October the 1st, 2008. I believe we went limit up on the NASDAQ.
He can not only tell you what happened, he can tell you what he was thinking, how he was feeling, if it was an overcast day.
Those are burnt in his emotional memory.
They are.
He'll never forget them.
He's an amazing guy.
Well, they went limit up. I think it was October the 1st, and of course at the time, we had just come off a horrendous decline from September into October, and the market bottomed and went limit up, right? And everybody is saying, great, the market's bottomed. And I said, no. I think I might have even said it on that show because Joe Granville was sort of saying the same thing. And I said, Joe's wrong because, God rest his soul, by the way. What people didn't realize that day was I can tell you, the advanced decline line was minus 2,400 that first day. And that was a new, not a record low, but it was extreme low, and it was like 20-to-1 sells to buys, something extraordinary, and then right before we went limit up, right? So it was an extreme, and it created an extreme bottom. Then we went limit up, and of course everybody was saying the bottom was in, and I said no, because you know when you get an extreme selling on a record new low. On the advanced decline, you do not make a bottom. It just doesn't work that way. So guess what happened? The next day, the market tanked, and then we had, we went down into about the middle of the month, and then we rallied again, and then we went down towards the end of the month, and then we rallied again, and actually, and then we had a huge rally in November when they announced the Treasury Secretary. That was about a 400-point day rally update. And everybody thought that was the bottom, and then we tanked all the way into March. And then we had the January, and then we had the inauguration. Remember, we had the inauguration, and the market went down the day of the inauguration. That was a really bad sign, and we continued down into the March 6th bottom. And by the time we went, what made me confident that the bottom was in March was we were only losing 400 points a week, not 400 points a day. Back in October, we were losing, going into that bottom, we lost 400 points 2 days back to back, right before that extreme bottom created that limit up day. And I think we went limit down after that. after that day. So,
well, check out what Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, this is a quote, he says, Bitcoin is rising because banks are destined to disappear. Now, he also goes on to say, let me just give a quote from the article real quick. John, I think you'll find this interesting. The Israeli financial press is also focusing on Bitcoin as everything crypto-related brings in clicks and viewers these days. Biggest story at the moment is the issue of a Tel Aviv Stock Exchange listed gold company who switched from mining gold to Bitcoin mining. Its stock price jumped 3,750% before the regulator came out against it. Another story currently in the headlines in this context is that of local cryptocurrency developer Colu raising $14.5 million from Israel's largest holding company, IDB Development Corporation. The Israeli regulator is also expected to announce a welcoming legal framework for ICOs by the end of the month. Now, there's also big news out of Russia today. Oh, you've got the charts. Let me just see if I can find that really quick. And I won't read the whole article. I just want to give you the gist of what is happening in Russia. I'm sure I posted. Guys who don't know, cryptodailyinfo.com, that is our cryptocurrency news site. Where's that? Russia. All right, let me try it one more way real quick. And then I know you got to get talking, Ed. Russia Bitcoin news. Let's just see if it pops up right here. The Russian presidential candidate wants to legalize Bitcoin, but that's not the news that I had today. Some major company in Russia even though it's still kind of illegal, some major company is spending a ton of money to buy the equipment and go into full-scale mining of Bitcoin. Now, how they're going to do it without getting thrown in the gulag, I don't know, but Bitcoin will be legal in Russia, mining to be regulated. The Russian president has ordered the government to set up regulations for the trade of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, ICOs, and mining by July 2018. The country is also developing its very own cryptocurrency, the crypto ruble, which ironically cannot be mined. So,
if it can't be mined, is it going to be fixed in coins? I wonder, because if it would be, people might look at it.
Well, see, right now there's 17 million coins in circulation, Bitcoins.
Right.
The maximum there can ever be is 21 million.
Right.
But the closer you get to 21 million, the harder it becomes to solve the equation. And so I think we're either 10 or 15 years out from being able to hit the maximum. But with all these big companies coming online to mine, we're going to get there sooner, I think. Now, the CT Global coin, okay, guys, here's the deal with the CT Global coin. All right, this is not a Carl Sagan thing with billions and billions of coins like some of these places. We pre-mined 1 million coins. That's it. There'll never be more than 1 million. Now, listen to this. If 0.01% of the Christian population wanted to own 4 Bitcoins, not 4 Bitcoins, but 4 CT Global coins, there aren't enough coins to go around. Let me say it again. If 0.01% of the Christian population just maybe wanted to own 4 CT Global coins, because it is the cryptocurrency for the global Christian community, somebody would be left high and dry, a whole lot of people. Now think about that. I've got advisors that, they either want me to pay them to guide me through this, or they're going to steal my concept. So I'm going to have to go to the dark web and get a hitman and all that stuff. That's what my days are so busy now.
You have to be really careful. No, you actually really need to be careful, Dwayne. Because
first words out of my wife's mouth when I got off with the consultant, she goes, "Dwayne, he's just going to steal everything you told him." And I said, "Well,
you better listen to her.
If you don't tell somebody what you're doing, how are they going to help you?" I mean, it says on our website that the first monies that come in will be used for incorporation and legal fees and consulting fees and all that kind of stuff. We have to build a proper framework and foundation. It's not going to happen overnight.
Right.
And I made sure that everything on that website was written in that tone so that people know, okay, you're a pioneer. We're getting in on... people didn't start making big money off the internet until, I don't know, 98, 99, before the crash. But the internet became available in, 92? To the general public. And a lot of people say that in internet years, as compared to cryptocurrencies, it is 1992 right now. So
yeah, I think there's a lot of truth in that. But
now here's a problem, and if anybody knows how to solve this problem, I'd love to hear from you. I know an individual who has about $200,000 that they want to put in Bitcoin. And they know all the, caveats and warnings and everything. But like if you go to Coinbase and you hook your bank account up to Coinbase, you can only buy $2,500 a week. They limit you.
Yeah.
So if somebody really wanted to make a wholesale type purchase, I don't even know how I don't know how to facilitate that. But the exchanges limit the amount that now maybe you can send a wire, maybe you can send a cashier's check, I don't know. But you don't want to see that money go missing, that's for sure.
Well, if somebody owns a Bitcoin or 10 Bitcoins they want to sell, I would think there's a way for them to find somebody like that. There's got to be a way to match up.
There's a site called Local Bitcoins that like brings together buyers and sellers, like Match.com brings together.
Yeah.
But I read an article that said, be careful. Some of these local Bitcoin dealers can be scamsters. So
I'm sure
that freaked me out.
I believe that. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's really hard to put your finger on it and feel like you've got something static there that's going to be there for a few days. It's hard to do diligence on people. It's hard to do diligence on these companies. I don't know. You've seen a lot of headlines, right? Where people lost, 10, 30, 40 million dollars in Bitcoin because an exchange failed them or got hacked.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff, I think it undermines using the Bitcoin for a lot of people, and it probably should. But if you have a substantial amount of money and you want to put or even if you have not much money but you want to learn about this, you put 1 or 2% of your liquid assets into the coin or a few coins and spread it across them, and then you get your education. No, you will all of a sudden, you won't learn everything, but Dwayne, until you put your money in the markets, that's when you really get your education, emotional education. That you're going to get more knowledgeable on the market because your brain's going to be activated to see things that wouldn't even notice before. And so you build your knowledge base, and you essentially build some expertise in it if you're paying attention to it. It's the only way to really know. I mean, people have asked me a lot about this thing, and I tell them I don't really know a lot, but I put a little money in here so that I can learn. I mean, I'm going to buy my education in this thing. I just wished I had done it sooner. Because I have not done it actually in the coins. I've done it in some of the smaller stocks that are relative to Bitcoin on the exchange. And by golly, they're, you know, some of them are more liquid than others, but there's not a lot of capital in them. But GBTC is one of the ones that I have been in and out of a few times, and it's supposedly they hold Bitcoins in a digital vault.
Hey, John, is that the company you brought up yesterday? John? There was some company that ran up. They ran up $300 the other day. They're up like 3,000% on the year.
Yeah, the price right now is $2,360 per share. They're up.
You bought that?
I bought it at $860, and in 2 weeks I sold it at $1850.
Well, if it was
I got back in, I've been trading it.
You know what? I may own some of that. It sounded familiar when he brought it up, but then I said, you know what? You're not that lucky, man. Because I went out looking for some quote unquote penny stocks to buy that were somehow tied to cryptocurrency. So I'm just going to log in.
Well, the other one that I bought is this BTSC, and I got in that at 9.6 cents. And that thing, I just hit it really lucky here. I wanted to get in because it felt like Bitcoin was, you know, on my charts was really going to make the big surge. And so I bought that crazy thing, and it sat there for a few days and didn't do much. And then it ran up to 63.9 cents, you know, in about 2.5 weeks. And I thought, wow. And I told myself, that's just too much money to make too quick. I rarely tell myself that because I usually don't see anything move that quick. But it started turning, and then I started selling my position out. So, you know, it's a baby penny stock. And it was really hard to buy. The brokers wouldn't let me buy it on my platform. I had to call them to get in. They would let me execute getting out once I had it in my account. But they wanted to read all this stuff to me, and it was absolutely horrible to buy because I had to go through and tell them you can't put a market order in on these little stocks. You have to put a limit. So I put my limit in, you know, at the offer, and it took me like 15 minutes to get filled when that thing started moving up. And coming down, when I had control of it, I was able to execute and get out pretty quick. But, you know, I would like to say I got out right up there at the highs. I didn't. I started selling at 55 cents. And by the time I was out, it was 40 cents. And it went all the way down to 28 cents that day. Went down to 14 cents the next couple days. So it ran. That's how wild it is. And it was hard. You know, I had sold out in like 6 different orders on the way down because, you know, I could just get pieces when it turned.
I passed on that one.
It was hard to get out.
And bought Sing instead. Nice.
Bought what?
Sing, S-I-N-G. It didn't do so well.
Well, you know, I mean, it's a hit and miss thing, and I took another stab at the same thing, and they took. I made some money in one day, but I didn't take it, and I ended up taking a loss the next day on the trade because I had that seared in my mind what it did the first time, and I thought I was going to catch it for another leg, but it didn't want to follow through. So
I bought Sing at 2 cents. It's at a dime, so I don't know. I got some gains there.
But you know, you can do if you're trading in pennies, right? Dwayne, you get several thousand.
This is a medical
shares
cannabis.
And you can make some money.
This is a medical cannabis play that also uses the blockchain. Did you know that all these people with all these dispensaries around the country can't open bank accounts because by federal law, marijuana is still illegal, even though certain states have made it recreational, like Washington, D.C., and many states have made it okay for medical use, like Arizona. However, because it's against federal law, all these dispensaries who take in tens of thousands of dollars a day. They have to hire bodyguards and buy huge safes to keep their money in because they can't put it in a bank.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So
but I
these
believe you.
cryptocurrencies,
Can they put it in a credit union?
No.
Can they put it in a credit union?
I don't
A
think
state
so.
Credit?
I don't think so. So that's what these cryptocurrency cannabis coins were supposed to allow them to do, is to put that money into a crypto exchange and get a token in return for their money, so that, you know, they don't have to stay awake all night with a shotgun guarding their money. I mean, there's a ton. Think about how much cash is sitting out there right now in safes, in storage sheds, you know, these storage rental places, because they take. I know someone who has a medical marijuana card here in Arizona, and every time she goes to the dispensary, she drops about $200.
Yeah. Well, it's
she's
funny.
not a heavy
I stayed
user.
away from it. I've stayed away from, but people early on made a lot of money in those, and you know, I don't know. There's so many of them. I think they're more prevalent than the ICOs even that are reasonable.
John, you're not big on the cannabis stocks, are you? I think he's on the phone.
He just went out to get some pot, probably. Okay. He's out. And I could see John. Yeah, right. Anyway,
Bear, I did not hear the latest Iran missile news.
I haven't either.
Okay, Tim just cleared something up for me. Okay, when you go to Coinbase, you have a Bitcoin wallet, an Ether wallet, and a Litecoin wallet, and a USD wallet. If you buy using an ACH transaction, you're limited. But Tim says you can wire money into your USD wallet at Coinbase and buy as much as you want. I wonder if do you guys in the audience, do you know what Coinbase looks like? I mean, under the hood, do you know? Here's what's really interesting is when you go to Coinbase and sign in, it's got two-factor authentication. So, okay, username, password, sign in. Okay, now I have to go to my phone, and on my phone I have to run a little app called Duo, which nobody's ever heard of, and neither had I. And I remember thinking, there's no way this is going to work. So I open Duo, I touch the key, it gives me a code. I type that in. 2. And every time it's a different code. Sometimes it's 2 digits, sometimes it's 5 digits. Verify. Oh, it says I haven't logged in from this computer in a while, so it wants me to verify that it's okay. Come on.
Well, Dwayne, I'm going to need to jump.
Oh, man. Well, tell people what you want to tell them. I can show them this later, I guess. Yeah,
well,
no, that's cool, because people are very interested in what you have to say.
Well, on Bitcoin, it's got a few interesting things going on here, because I'm watching this MACD, and I'm watching it lose momentum up here. And actually, I'd love to see it pull back, you know, $500-700. I think we could get our Fibonacci retracements marked in here and see where we should swing the bat at it. I think that as we approach $20,000, I think there could be a real challenge there. I think also that there is some real possibility that the CME contract that's going to start trading the futures contract may attract a lot more traders. I think their platforms and ability to execute futures contracts is going to be significant, and I think they might have some big players in there. I've read that they're going to have the margin set at, it's going to be 5 coins, Dwayne, and the margin is going to be 35% of the basket of the 5 Bitcoins. So, you know, they're not going to be 35% margin in a futures contract. It's pretty significant. So they might keep a lot of little guys out like that, but it won't keep the big guys out. So I'm more concerned that there's a possibility that that's going to be real resistance for Bitcoin because of, you know, that the major players and the central banks and the governments are going to probably try and participate in that in one way or another. I think they have not found a way to stop this train. I think there'll be some experimenting going on. And so we'll just have to see. So I think that potentially is in the back of my mind. I'm watching this thing. It hasn't pulled back enough to really make any difference as far as the uptrend goes. You can draw trend lines on it and start to see where it's running into a little bit of a problem here. But their problems usually get rolled over within a day or two, and they're back to the races to the upside. Yeah. So come Monday, it's going to be real interesting to see what happens. And maybe Monday is not going to be an event.
Janet Yellen came down real hard yesterday in her final press conference as the head of the Fed. She was bad-mouthing crypto, and it dropped $1,500 in about 15 minutes. Right.
And I think that's going to be kind of a barrage. If you know, they really haven't had anything. They're sitting there. They've been bad-mouthing this thing for several months now, and it's done nothing but go up. If they have a futures exchange in it that, like you say, it's pretty delinked from Bitcoin because it's not deliverable. It's a cash settlement, so people don't really have to come up with the Bitcoins to make settlement on the contract if they carry it to expiration, which almost no one does. But so even if they do, it's just going to be a cash settlement. And so I would ask anybody, if the banks are allowed to participate in this futures contract, and particularly the Federal Reserve banks.
I've told you about my friend.
They don't have a limit on the money they can borrow from the Fed, right? So they can make settlement on anything they want because they're printing money to do what they're doing. So can they take the risk to come in here and really put the wood on it and try and smack it down? They found a way to do that in other futures markets, and this is certainly the most threatening thing that they've seen in all these years.
Well, Morgan Stanley, yesterday it was announced, Morgan Stanley bought 11% of Overstock.com, because Overstock.com, I'm friends with Patrick Byrne, the CEO. He's been a friend of CFRN since we began. And he started accepting Bitcoin 2 years ago online at his company. And a year ago, he started paying his employees, if they wanted to be paid, in Bitcoin. And now he's got SEC approval and is launching his own exchange called T0, I believe. And so his stock ran up 22% the other day because people are starting to see him more as a technology crypto play than an online retailer. I mean, you can still get a nice comforter, but the dynamics of who they are. And I think he is every bit as smart as Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. I believe that with all my heart. And guys, you can go back and listen to the early podcasts, 2005, 2006, when Patrick Byrne came on the show.
That's good to know, Dwayne. That's really good to know. Well, I
He's
think
so busy. I really want to call and have a conversation with him, but I've been holding off because I know how busy I know how busy I am, and we're not at that scale. So. Yeah. Right. Well, I am worried, Tim. That's I tried logging in, and it said you need to reconfirm this computer, and we're going to send you an email. And by golly, it says only try once, and it Now, my phone app, with the Coinbase app, you just one click with your thumb and it opens it. But it doesn't have all the functions of the web-based app. And I keep refreshing my email, and I did not get that confirmation email. That concerns me a little bit. Go ahead.
But Dwayne,
I know you got to go.
Yeah, I do. I want to say one thing about oil.
All right.
And I want to, because I think it's pivotal up here. This is what I put out over the weekend. Let me see. On Brent and WTI, I said they should make new reaction highs after closing last week marginally lower after a solid late week recovery. Brent's wave count, see Brent's wave count on page 2. So WTI's wave counts are not as strong as Brent's. And wave type 5 targets in WTI are at 59.24 to 6,100 and 66.05 to 6,900. But here's the point I wanted to make. We've had a nice good run. I've been very bullish on this oil market since $45. We had a really nice run, but right now is the first time I see potential problems for them. Keep an eye on the potentially pivotal Fibonacci resistance levels at 59.96 and 65.80 in WTI and Brent respectively, as these levels are the key going forward for really the crude oil market. And so this is where we were on Brent. On the daily chart, we were in wave 5 up. This is last Friday's close. And this was also last Friday's close. The 900-minute count was in wave 5 up. But the key point here is that Brent hit its number this week, the 65.80. These are pivotal numbers, meaning they have the potential to turn the market. You know, they have the potential to turn the market. WTI didn't even get to its number, but Brent did. And if we come back and look at this thing on Brent and what it did, I think it's really important to note when it turns on the numbers. And you know, how often does it really turn right on the numbers? Not often, but it did. It turned 3 cents above our number. It was 65.83 over here, the high in the cursor box on the lower left. 65.83 was the high that we hit, and we in the 900-minute chart, and it did that on Monday. And you can see what it did. It went 3 cents above the fib number, and it crashed at 65.83, and we came all the way down to 62.01. So we crashed about $3,800 a contract so far, and it's having trouble getting up off the floor like a boxer that got knocked out. Look at this. It's trying to hold in here. Held the 80% retracement, but that's not good enough. It really, because this number was a defined point going back to the reaction high, which on Brent was of $114. This is a big number. That's why it's pivotal. If it's going across a long time frame, you have to pay attention to it. And I'll guarantee you the people with big money knew about that number, or it wouldn't have done this. So we'll see if that's enough to cap the market. I don't think it's going to, you know, totally collapse here at all. But what I can see is this is a big problem for it going forward if they can't get through this number in the next couple weeks. So, and Brent is really the global benchmark for crude oil, not WTI. I cover them both, but this is the one the cargoes are traded off of. A differential of where this closes on the day. Several cargoes will be priced based on an average 3-day close in price of this futures contract. So you've got a lot of physical money transferring off this one contract, much more than is in the futures exchange. Okay, so that is a big point. Now people will be starting to wonder, you know, maybe we should be selling this thing a little heavier. And believe me, at $60 to $65, our producers back here will be going 100% again. They're going to pump all the oil they can because they're making good money. They can make good money up here. So I think that's all I wanted to say.
What was the high of the week?
The high of the week?
Yeah.
On crude?
Yeah.
On Brent crude is 65.83. On WTI, it's not as bullish as Brent because it already looked like it peaked back here at 59.05.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it peaked and it came back and made a lower high. You can argue we're going to try and come back up here again, but I wouldn't count on WTI carrying the load at all. It's got to be Brent right now. If there's any kind of supply disruption in the Middle East, Brent's going to respond much stronger than we will. So if there's going to be a move to the upside, you're going to first see it in Brent. But the fact that it pivoted at a number that we could see over time was an important number. We got to pay attention to the first time there's a crack in this thing in many months. So, and I've been on here a long time, and you guys know I've been bullish for a long time on this thing. So I'm now cautious. I'm very cautious with it because of that reaction. And as far as the S&P goes, we may get that pullback John's talking about. And if we do, you'll want to engage in the next buy setup you get after a good flush. It may be hard to do at the time, but I can see it is kind of the market internals up here aren't nearly as strong as they were, but it's December and they're not going to give up on a tremendous year that we've had and give back too much of it without trying to turn the market back up, regardless of the wave count. That's my opinion. Okay, Dwayne, I'm going to jump.
The email finally came. I authorized this computer. Okay, let me take charts back 1 second.
Okay.
Real quick before you go. And I will show you what Tim was trying to explain to us. Okay, tell me when you see my charts. Hello. Hello.
I think I see something over my charts here.
No, that's not right.
Do you see it on yours? I'll tell you how I could tell. Let me move mine.
I told it to show my screen. There it goes.
There you go.
Yeah.
You got it, man.
Okay, so let me go to the dashboard. Okay.
Well, Chief, I'm going to jump here.
No. You just sit tight 1 minute.
Oh, okay.
Right.
You're going to show me
this
something.
This is the Coinbase thing. This is and this is the one that we're most comfortable with. You click on accounts, and so you have a BTC wallet, okay, right? And however much Bitcoin you got, it'll convert it to dollars. And then there's a vault that you can put it in, which is supposedly safer than just having it online. But to get it out of the vault, you have to put in a request, and they don't authorize it for 48 hours to make sure you're not a bad actor.
Oh, really?
Then you have an ETH wallet. Then you have an LTC wallet. Obviously, I have no LTC. And then what Tim was saying is if instead of buying here, instead of doing this, okay, buy one of these and then give them a payment method, what he was saying is that if you simply do a bank wire into your USD wallet, he said there is a limitation. He goes, but it's so high it didn't affect him. So that's.
Does that mean they let you buy more coins than they?
Oh, you can. Said? Oh, if you got money in your USD wallet, you can spend every penny right now.
Wow.
Thanks for helping me figure that out, Tim.
So you like Coinbase yourself, Dwayne, or you've used it?
I do. I'm using it, right. Yes, I use it. Now, I have Ether stored at my Ether wallet, and at the beginning of the year, we are going to every coin that we've sold in the pre-sale, we will be, I'm recommending that everyone use my Ether wallet. You can use any wallet you want, but for the initial transfer, I'm suggesting you get a free Ether wallet at myetherwallet.com. You will send me your address, your public address. Never show anyone your private key, ever. And as long as I know your public address, like 123, it's like 123 Main Street. That's your public address. If I send Bitcoin to that account number, bing, it's in your account. And so that's how we're going to deposit everything that was sold during the pre-sale.
I see. Okay.
And then, you know, and then trading begins. So it's in, oh, Tim says it's insured if you put it in the vault. That's good to know, Tim. Man, you really need to help me with this webinar I got to get through.
Yeah. It's insured.
How much is it insured for, Tim? Is it like the FDIC? I was just afraid to put anything in there because of the 48-hour. It's like a time lock on a safe, you know. You can't get it out for 48 hours in case of an emergency. I don't know that I want to do that. So
they probably want to contact you and find a way to confirm you did that.
Absolutely.
Wanted it out,
yeah.
Right?
Yep. Yeah. So Bitcoin's trading at 16,822, up 10 grand since last month.
It's amazing, huh? Just amazing.
155%. All right, buddy. I know you got to go.
Okay. Good to talk with you. Thanks.
Ed, I heard that the World Bank or one of these biggies isn't going to back any new oil or gas exploration in 2019. Is that true?
I have not heard that, but I'm not sure how much they're banking. They're going to only bank your third world countries. I mean, the big guys that want to drill aren't going to borrow money from the World Bank. It's too political.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for everything. Okay. I'll talk to you in 2 Thursdays. Call me before then if there's something you want to talk about. All right?
Okay. You bet. Thanks, Glenn.
All right, buddy. We love you. Okay. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Now, Bear says, would you give a trade on something other than bonds for the radio show today? Yeah, I sure will. In fact, here, let me just double check. Still checking. 2664, 51. Okay. Here, let's scrunch up a skosh. Okay, we've already taken out that low. Consider selling 2655 to 2651. That's a 4-point trade. I'll write it on the screen so tomorrow we can see how it turned out. Consider selling 2655 to 2651. It's not a solicitation to buy or sell any security. I'm just simply saying that if I was putting on a trade right now, that's probably the one I'd put on. 2651. It's a 4-point trade. You know what I'm saying? How much of a stop? Well, your target's 4. So are you willing to risk 4? Better chance you're going to get it. Can you cut corners and just risk 2? Yeah. Could you split it and risk 3 points? Because see, when it comes down through 55, when it triggers 55, I'm pretty positive it'll go to 51. Except it didn't. See right here? The low of this candle was 52.25. Okay. So maybe we want to go 55 to 53 and tighten our stop up really tight. See what I'm saying? We've moved 2 points away from this zone, which gives me good confidence especially when, see this low and this low, look at those. See, that could have been potentially very good support, but we've now traded through it. What I'd like to see is this 30-minute candle close below that, and then I would have even more confidence. Because what it could do is once it closes down here, it might come back up and test this as good resistance before it puts that leg down. And none of this is a guarantee. This is just one man's analysis of what he sees in front of him. Does that help you, Bear? From Coinbase, thanks to Tim, the insurance policy covers any losses resulting from a breach of Coinbase's physical security, cybersecurity, or by employee theft. You're very welcome, Bear. Thank you so much, Tim. Now, guys, while I think the vault is a good idea, what I think is an even better idea is to go to Walmart. Now, the Nano S, you can get the Trezor at Walmart. I don't know if you can get the Nano S there, but Amazon will deliver it to your house tomorrow. The Nano S will allow you to store anything built on the Bitcoin blockchain, anything built on the Ethereum blockchain, and it's a hardware device, okay? So you buy some cryptocurrency, you offload it from you take it from the exchange to your external wallet, and then you unplug your wallet from the internet or your computer and go put it in the safe behind the picture of Jesus and the little girl. Nobody can hack that, okay? Now, of course, there could be a home invasion. They beat you about the head and face, and you finally tell them, well, look behind the picture of Jesus and the little girl, and here's a combination, okay? But if you exercise your Second Amendment rights, then you're going to be all right. Whew, that's a lot. Today's going to be a big day, really big day. Okay, now, just remember, on this trade that I gave you, okay, the last time price tried to get down to this zone at 50.51, it didn't quite make it. It missed it by 5 ticks. So what if it misses it by 5 ticks again? Okay. Well, you still got this, and there's nothing in your way. I shouldn't say that. There's always a little something in your way. But at some point, you have to be willing to assume the risk. I mean, okay, now there's nothing in your way. From where that is to where this is, which isn't very far, the low of that candle's 57, and this line is 55. Well, exactly 2 points. So, I don't know. Hope you can do something with that. Hope it brings you all your hopes and dreams. Ha! This has been a great show. Now, look here at Crude. And I don't want to beat a dead horse. Because, well, that would just be wrong to beat a dead horse. But here's the Globex Open Sunday night. Right here. All right? Okay. Now, price oscillated on this zone, and then it went to the zone. Consolidated. Leg. Come back. Test. Make sure it's going to be good support to the zone. Now, this is a $500 per contract move. Up, double top, $500 per contract back down. Now, hot knife through. Remember, when you hit a weekly trading zone, only one of 3 things happens. Either you consolidate, that's the most likely thing. The second most likely thing is rejection. Right there, you see that? That's rejection. The third most likely thing is a hot knife through butter. It slices through it like it's not even there. But what do we expect to happen? We expect it, after it slices, to return to the zone, confirm it as good support, or in this case, resistance, and then continue in the direction of the slice. And then we expect it to consolidate. Here it got rejected. Remember 3 things: consolidation, rejection, hot knife through butter. When you learn to trust that process, you notice I don't need any trend lines. I don't really need any indicators. I really don't need anything. I wasn't going to do this, but now I am. Hang on. You know, we all have a tendency to people in general are so quick to complain, even in a retail environment. If the cashier is snippy or the waitress is slow, we have no problem tracking down the manager and lodging a complaint. On the other hand, if the cashier or waitress is pleasant, quick, and possibly goes out of their way to help us with something, well, you know, hey, they're just doing their job. This is not a new problem. When Jesus healed the lepers, they all ran off overjoyed with the miracle. Jesus just stood there with a blank stare. Then the greatest miracle of all, one of the 10 ex-lepers caught a case of consciousness and came back and said, "Thank you." Jesus said, "What about the other guys?" He's like, "I don't know, but thank you." And I think maybe Jesus wept, but that's a different part of the Bible. Now, that was my response to someone who sent me an email Tuesday, I think, or Monday night. Because for the first time in 8 years, I was unable to deliver the zones at the exact time, 6:15 a.m. Eastern, because I couldn't connect to the server. And some people got upset. They were calling Burton complaining, and Michael, and the email, and I'm like, you know, gee whiz, guys, I missed once in 8 years. I got many complaints. I got one email that I will share with you. Dwayne, I just have to drop you a line to say that I agree with all you said this morning about your weekly trading zones. The zones are truly amazing. I use them every day. Since I use TradeStation, I have to manually enter them onto my charts every Monday morning, which I don't mind doing when I see how well they work. In fact, I usually keep up last week's zones for a few days unless the markets move on to new territory. So you have a big fan here as far as your zones. If one day you decide to divulge your methodology, I would be the first in line. You need not apologize for being late just one time since you began publishing the zones. Your record is amazing, considering there's likely a good amount of work involved each week. So keep it up. Don't go away. Don't stop putting out your zones. My whole trading success depends on them, as it probably does for other traders just like me. But while we're on the subject, I don't trade gold or crude, and I do trade the NASDAQ. So for my part, NASDAQ zones would be more useful than the other two. I spent a lot of time watching the 4 key indices to get a sense of where the overall market is headed. ES, YM, NQ, Russell. I liken the markets to 4 marching armies where one lagging or one advancing army has effects on the other 3 armies. Your zones would be more helpful to me if I had them for the NQ as well, to help figure out the general tone and direction of the markets. But that said, thanks for all your work. You are forgiven for being late one day in 8 years, and your explanation this morning was truly eloquent, even inspiring. A blessed holiday greetings to you and your family. I'm going to tell you what, Jim, you doggone near brought tears to my eyes. But I was so ticked off at other stuff, I didn't have time to cry. But yeah, I really appreciate that. I really, really do. And Jim's going to have a little something extra in his email every Monday morning, henceforth. So I want to encourage everybody, not just with this trading and zone business, when you go into a retail outlet and the cashier's snippy, it's possible she's just evil, you know, mean to the bone. But more than likely, she's got a sick child at home, or a sick spouse, or lost her spouse, or her car broke and she can't afford to fix it, and so now she has to take the bus to get to work, to pick up the kids from school. I mean, people have lives, you know, and of course they have to try to hide all of that at work so the manager doesn't fire them, but it's hard. So the next time that a clerk doesn't treat you the way you think you should be treated, or a waitress makes a mistake, or a waiter, or some other service person, why not, rather than go find a manager, why not say something encouraging to them? Tell them what a great job they're doing. Tell them how good they look today. And sometimes you'll see a little tear run down their cheek. And that opens the door for you to then say, hey, are you okay? You need somebody to talk to? You know? Maybe you're comfortable giving them your phone number. I don't know. The only Jesus that some people will ever see in this world is the Jesus they see in you. Think about that. Think about that. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. Guys, I'd love to hang with you more. Robin Dane, the trading coach, will be our special guest tomorrow. We'll get all the zones put on all the other charts for this week. And remember, if you want to have the zones in your inbox every Monday morning, almost every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you must become a partner. It's not a product we sell separate. We don't even sell it. It's not even part of the partner package. Michael and I know that when you decide to become a CFRN partner, it's been a tough decision because these other websites promise you overnight riches. We don't. In fact, we speak strongly against that kind of mentality. And so, what do new people who have no frame of reference, what do? They go with the guy that says he's going to make them rich. Quick. Who doesn't want to get rich tomorrow? Everybody does. But those of us who've been beaten up a little bit, we know that's not going to happen. So we tell people the truth. So they go with the other guy. And once the other guy bleeds them out of every dime they got, then they come back to us. Yeah, you're right. Will you still help me? Yeah, I'm afraid to ask. Got any money left? No. Oh, boy. But we do what we can. So, I'm going to leave you with that. Be kind to people. You don't know what they're going through. I mean, you probably got problems too. We all do. But, man, their problems could be so much worse. And that kind word of encouragement that you give them, that smile, that whatever, you know, it could be the very thing that gives them the hope to keep pushing on. And if you have a clerk or waitress or waiter or mechanic or whatever that actually does a job above and beyond the call of duty, it's still okay to go hunt down the manager and go, I don't know where you got that Jim up front or that Susie Q, but if you ever decide to fire him, call me. I'll hire him in a minute. I'd love to have an employee with that kind of character. Imagine what that might do for that employee. And they never and don't go back by the employee and go, hey, I told your boss you're doing a great job, because you're looking for strokes. It ain't about you getting strokes. It's about you doing something for somebody who will never know you did it and can never repay, and it can never pay you back. That's selfless giving. That's Jesus stuff. Remember, the only Jesus some people will ever see is the Jesus they see in you. That's almost scary. Thanks for tuning in, guys. It's been a big Thursday. It's going to be an even bigger Friday. Whoever you are, wherever you are, May God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.